Okay, so this one was about my both my cousins, and basically they had wishes, that went disregarded. So, respect my wishes, please. Speaking of both of my cousins, they both have wishes that were completely disregarded. My cousin, who was around the age of, he's in his early 30s, he hoped, he hoped that this is the first time I ever heard this. So he set like this standard for, in his relationship, and he was like, I want to get married at 10 in 10 years and get engaged at 5 years. I was like, wow, like that is so different. I never heard that before. So the fact that he wanted to get married at 10 years and 5 years, that was completely disregarded. They called this the 5-10. So his girlfriend disregarded this. His girlfriend didn't respect his wishes, and she went ahead and proposed to him. Of course, he said yes, and I feel like it was more so under peer pressure. But she went ahead and she disregarded um, what he wanted, and I felt like, just thinking about that, that could have been their foundation. Their foundation could have been he could have been setting the foundation without knowing it. Setting the foundation is just going through it with that person and finding your strengths and finding your weaknesses. So basically, through all that time, we could have been finding our strengths. We could have been, finding our weaknesses. We could have been getting to know one another and just setting, you know, um, just having something to stand on because they were. And then, okay, so the fact that she disregarded his weakness. I mean, she disregarded this. Now they're married. Now they're engaged in 1 year and a half. You know, they're engaged. I don't know how long they knew each other. They probably knew each other longer than that. I don't know their situation, but I know that, you know, what they told me. So it's only been a year and a half. You disregarded my wishes, and I take that passionately. I feel like that's really passionate. When someone tells you that they don't want to do something, or they're opening up to you. The fact that I opened this up to you because I never heard it, and he probably don't share this with his family. And the fact that he told you that, that's something you should have cherished. So the fact that she did that, it's like you don't even care about how I feel about this. You actually don't care because this is something that I opened up to you about. You know, this was something very sacred, and you disregarded that because of what? A lot of women do this because they feel that they're about to lose their significant other. They feel threatened. They feel like somebody is about to come into the situation and take away everything that, I've established. Oh, that was a leaf on my phone. I thought it was something else. Taking away everything that I've established. So they do it off of fear, anxiety, panic, intuition. My intuition is telling me I need to propose to this man. And obviously she's very serious about you. Proposing to another person is like getting a tattoo of their name on you. It's just the same. It's not nothing to play about. So if she went out of her way to propose to you, obviously she's serious about you, and she just can't wait because she needs security. But in the midst of you having security, now I have to give up on myself because a lot of this stuff that we come up with is more so about ourselves. Internally, we feel the way we feel. I feel like this 5 to 10, this is something I put together. This is something I set for myself. And the fact that you took that away, now I'm feeling kind of, lost in a way because you took that away from me. You wasn't serious about me. So if you're not serious about me, how can I expect anyone else to be serious about me? So it's kind of taking away the fact that she needs security. She was struggling with trust, but now he's struggling with respect because you did not respect me enough to wait on me. You did not respect me enough to wait on me. So I found that very intriguing. I was like, wow, just stuff like that just tells you a lot about a person. It's just like, wow, I never heard that before. And the fact that you had said that, it tells me a lot about you, that you are very genuine, you are very passionate, and you're a believer of what you believe in. You stand on that. But then when somebody kind of takes that away from you, like they question your faith, it's like questioning your beliefs, questioning anything about you, and they come in and they try to take that away from you. That's like taking everything away from. That's like taking, all that you built inside of you away from you. That's like stealing from you. You stole that from me. That's like a part that holds together your personality. You know, that's like something that's very important. It's an important piece to your body, just like the neck bone. The spine. It's something that's important that make up your spirit. So if you take that away from me, I'm going to be lost. You know, and you took that away from me. Now where do I go from here? I'm engaged, but I still have my mind set on that 5 to 10. You know, my mind is still set on that 5 to 10, so it's not really clicking to me that you are engaged to me or that we got engaged because you did not respect me. You know, I'm still over here in that 5 to 10. You proposed, that's not really, that's not real to me right now. You know, it's like being in a whole nother state of mind because you set this for yourself. And the fact that that woman did not respect that, you know, she kind of just disregarded it. How can I really be in this relationship if I know that you don't care about me or care about how I feel? You know, that is very important. I feel like a lot of people don't know how important that is. So I still kind of understood from her situation because it's like that's something that he set for himself. But in the midst of that, it's like, okay, so my sister told me that he was talking to another girl. He was talking to his friend. He was talking to her friend. So he was talking to her friend while he was down here in Akron, and obviously this is around the time when my grandma passed. My grandma passed not too long ago. So I'm thinking like it was in between the period. It was in the midst of them being in a relationship together. So, so she could have been reacting off of this, you know. That's the thing about us. We may not, you know, a lot of men think that we don't know, and they don't know how strong a woman's intuition is. They don't know how strong we are, you know, how strong our senses is, you know, on top of the sixth sense, you know, of nurturing, being a mother. We have that extra sense. So if we sense that something is off or we sense that something is wrong with you, we're going to react. We're going to react. You know, it's out of the question. We're going to react somehow, some way, but your reaction will predict how the situation will turn out. Your reaction is the solution to whatever is happening. So it depends on how she reacted. So she reacted in engagement. She may not have known what was going on universally, what was going on. Like, he obviously didn't tell her that because, you know, men are men. Some men will, some men won't, depending on how much they care about you. And if she didn't, you know, we are intact with the universe. We are, you know, spiritual beings. So it's something in my intuition. It's just like something in my gut, something in this world just kind of fell off. Like, what is going on? Just like if a tree is cut down in my universal plane of my nervous system. You know, if a tooth falls out, that's just like a tree falling down on earth. A tooth falls out. Something is out of alignment. And that's when the nervous system starts reacting. That's when your intuition starts talking, and with that alarm, like, oh, snap. Something just happened. I need to react. It's like an alarm system. I need to take action right now. And that's when we take action, and our action is that reaction, and her reaction was that engagement. So it's like I had a question, and I'm just like, so, depending on her reaction, did she respond the right way? You know, did she respond the right way? You know, this response could have been the fact that my grandma just passed. He could have been grieving. You know, this was when he was flirting with that girl that my sister brought to my attention. That could have been his grievance. You know, because everybody grieves in a certain way. He was out of town. Where can you grieve when you're out of town, when you really don't have nobody, but you're always around your family? How can you grieve? And that's what I kind of came up with. Like, he could have been grieving when he was talking to my sister's friend, talking about he wanted to get with my sister's friend, but you got a girl at home. You know, he could have been grieving. He had no other way to grieve. You know, what other way is it to grieve? You know, in this type of situation. So he can't really let out his emotions, how he truly feels. So, you know, the best bet is talking to someone, and you and the mister talking to this person, y'all click and this and that. It could be a form of expression. And this reminds me of the movie that I just watched as well. So, yeah, it could be a moment of reflection. So she's at home. She's getting ready to be engaged. I don't know how it happened, but, you know, I'm just throwing this out here. So in the midst of them, you know, everything has a reaction. When there's an action, everything has a reaction. So just think, when he's in the midst of talking to this girl and getting acquainted with this girl, and they doing whatever they doing, she's over here, you know, getting her rings, thinking about thinking about when he gets home. You know, I'm about to propose to him. She becomes that thought process. You know, physical and then spiritual, thoughtful consciousness. She becomes that because she has more, you know, built over here. She has more of him over here than he is over here. So all of this is coming together. All of this is coming together in the midst of this happening. You know, when a storm is forming over here, but it passes by, and then there's a tornado over here. It's always something that's going to happen. It's always something for something. Something over here is taking place, something is over here taking place. To kind of, everything is in alignment. So no matter what you're doing, something is happening on the other side of what you're doing. So it's like, okay, so he's talking to this girl, this and that and the third, and she's planning this engagement because she's receiving some type of, alarm in her nervous system, in her intuition, in her gut. She got that gut feeling, so she's reacting on whatever he's doing over here. She's the reaction to what he's doing. So then they get engaged, and she's just reacting on that. So basically, it could turn into it could be a good situation, it could be a bad situation. The good situation is, it could be a good and it could be a positive. The good can be, she acted in a way that she was supposed to. Because the fact that he's grieving, he may have, he's not fully there. Therefore, she had to do something to kind of, bring him back to the relationship. And then, if she, and the other intuition could be her putting her this could be alarm, like, oh, like you need to do something to calm your nerves. It could be that, do something to calm your nerves. Do something other than, like, if you're not, that's what a lot of women just worries too much about a man. And this is a woman that's worried too much about her man. She could have been worried too much, and that's why, like, she just didn't know what to do. Or she did. Like, I don't know that situation, but I'm just saying, like, the good out of it is that, sometimes this is what I learned. And I feel like this is the answer right here, because sometimes I feel like when it's a lot going on, the best thing to do is be still. When you have a reaction or that gut feeling is just knocking, oh, something's wrong. He's cheating on me. I feel like something is happening to where it's out of my control. I need to take control. This could have been an alarm for her to be still, do nothing, and just be content with the situation. The good, that's what I'm saying. That's one option I came to. The other option is that, what was the other option? This would have had him kind of reflecting on, pulling him back into the relationship. She's pulling him back into the relationship, taking control of the situation. And how is that a good thing, you would ask? The good thing out of that is that, maybe this is what she had to do to kind of ground him. Ground him back into the relationship. Pull him back and say, you have this right in front of you. Kind of wake him up to the situation. So, yeah, that's what I got out of that. What was I about to say? So, yeah, that's what I got. And I was just like, wow. But like I said, the main area is that you have to have God in your life. When you have God in your life, you're not looking towards another person. If you have God in your life, you would have knew what to do in this situation, in this moment. Having God in your life, in your relationship before a marriage can save you more than it can break you. The fact that she reacted this way, it could have broken what they had. If she had God in her relationship, she would have knew to be content and be still and not have no reaction towards this action. This is without God. Is, I'm waking you up, I'm grounding you down, I got to take control of the situation. Not having God. Having God is be still, be content, and learn to be humble. That's having God. Be still. So, yeah, let's move on. So that was one situation, and the other situation, it was about my other cousin, and this kind of took a toll on my mind, too, because I'm just like, I'm thinking about everything in the midst of what they're going through. And I'm just like, what's the solution? That's where I feel like I got to be Mrs. Fix-It. I got to fix it, So that's how I feel like I feel like, I just got to put two and two together, because if I don't understand the situation, I didn't know this about myself. I didn't know, like, I'm so, engaged in being the help. Even if it's not the help towards them, it's someone's problem could be your fix. So the fact that you're brainstorming and jumping into you know, whatever information you were given. If I was given this information, the information I received, it's my business that's my business. You know, you gave it to me, it's my business now, and I can do whatever I want to it because, you know, I received it. I can, you know, do whatever with whatever I received, and that's how you learn a lot out of life. So, yeah, good thing they don't got my channel. They don't know nothing about my YouTube. So this other cousin, he's going through a lot. His is complicated, and it's like last night. It's kind of like last night when I was talking to this guy, and he was just like, I'm trying to support you. I'm trying to help you. And he was just helping me. Like, he was just trying to get to know me, but it's, like, more complicated than you can explain. You know, it was more complicated. Like, I can't just tell you my whole situation and lay it out there because my life is not that simple. It's a lot of people, you know, he don't even know everything that I've been through mentally, and a lot of what I've been through mentally is the reason, is the why to where I am in my life now. And so the fact that he's like this, that, and the third, you can tell, like, he just, you know, he don't know everything. So it's just like, yeah, cool. So that's basically an introduction into what I'm about to tell you. So my cousin, I'm thinking this is summer school because there's a whole bunch of kids in these doors of this building. Oh, this ain't summer school. School is in, but I think this is an after school program. Okay, so my cousin, he goes through a lot of mental, you know, he had mental issues in the past. You know, he took pills and this, that, and the third for depression. He had anger issues and, you know, stuff like that. So he had this, and now later on in his life, I'm meeting his wife and stuff like that. So his wife wound up throwing him a party, the birthday party that we was at. She wound up throwing him a party, and I felt like she didn't respect his wishes. And that's what this is about. You know, I'm not saying that there's any problems in his relationship because I kind of just thought about everything that was going on. I got no bad vibes from what they was going through. It seemed like everything is cool, you know. That's just my opinion. A lot of people don't think that everything is cool and they got an issue, but I feel like everything is cool with them. Like, they cool. So, but what I'm saying is that she threw a party, but from what we know as family is that our cousin, when he says something, it's usually serious. And this is where I'm saying, like, in your relationships, you have to be serious. You have to take it serious. You know, you have to take your partner serious. Even if they seem like they're goofy or they shouldn't be taken serious, they want you to take them serious, because if you take them serious, it tells them a lot about you, that you're actually listening to me. You're listening to me, you're hearing me, and this will draw me closer to you. But if I know that you're not listening or you're not hearing me, this is only going to pull me away from you, because you don't respect me and you don't see me. You don't see me. You know, if I'm telling you I don't want to have a party and you know everything that I'm going through, why would you still do it? You're not respecting my wishes. You're not seeing me and you're not hearing me and you're not taking me seriously. So this causes a lot of people in a relationship to shut down. You know, and you don't want your partner to shut down on you, because if that's your partner shut down on you, it's basically like closing the door on you in the midst of what y'all got going on. And 9 times out of 10, the relationship won't end well. You know, so this is, you know, but he's married. So they are already established. It's just like they got a lot to work on, and she seems like she knows that. So they just got a lot to work on, a lot to mend. So, and overall, I really want her, like, this is my concern as a family member, as his cousin. I really want her to focus on his mental health. Put his mental health first. She's a businesswoman. She's up and diddy. She, you know, she's out here, go get her doing what she got to do. If I was his mother, I would tell her, what I need you to do is to put his mental health first. No matter what you're going through, put his mental health first. Support him in his mental health. You know, and when she was telling me, she was like, yeah, I'm the one who told him he's not going to be sitting around. He needs to go get him career, pushing. I'm like, oh, so you're the one who applied the pressure. Do you know that he has mental health? Do you know that he had mental health issues in the past, and this, that, and the third? You know, I didn't feel out of place when I said it, because I feel like, you know, this is what I know about him. This is what he was giving me the whole time. He's just sitting there like a brick wall. Like, he has a lot that he's dealing with from my position. You know, I'm the type of person where I'm going to let you know what I got going on, you know, because I've learned that. He may not have learned that, you know, and a lot of people be like, well, you was out of place. Well, how do you know he wants that brought up into the relationship? How do you know that he wanted her? He didn't want her. How do you know that he wanted you to let her know that? What if he didn't want you to let her know that? Well, only God can judge me because I speak on what my experience, I speak on what I know, and I just, and that's what I'm gonna do, What I know about him, it wasn't brought to her, and that's how I know. Like they completely disregarded the fact that he had anger issues, and the fact that this is being brought up. Oh well, he's this. Like they were speaking, oh he's always angry, this and that, like just picking on him. And I'm like, if I'm in that situation, now that I know how to speak how I feel, this is what I would do. But I don't know if he learned that, and I'm only here to help the situation. The fact that I know that he used to go through exactly what I went through, they was in the same position. We're not really alike. These are my first cousins. Like, we're not really not alike. We're more alike than you know. So it's just like, if you're not hearing me, you're not listening to me, I'm going to feel a certain way. And that's why he's sitting here, but the more y'all talking is more, he's building up that brick wall, building. He's going to keep building up that brick wall. It's not nothing that's going to stop him from building up this brick wall. And they're just talking so negative about him, but I don't see negativity because I know him from, when we were younger. Not that much younger. Well, yeah, younger. So I'm that reflection of him that needs to be brought out, that needs to be shown. I mean, that needs to be seen. And when I told them, I'm just like, do y'all know his mental? Like, do I was like, don't you know? You mean y'all know he got mental health? Like, remember he had mental health. He used to take his pills. He used to be angry and stuff all the time. Remember, like he was taking pills for that. And it was like, oh yeah. And then his girl was like, no, he didn't. That was her first response. And I'm like, boom, right there. Like, she didn't even know. So she putting all this pressure on him because she never knew. But that's the thing about us when we grow up. These are the side of us that we want to hide. We want to, blind from our partner. See, we don't want our partner to notice because we feel like we're going to be judged. So obviously, he probably most likely didn't want that being brought to her attention. He didn't want her to notice. But this is something that needs to be known so that she can understand you. They needed, they needed this light shine in that dark area of their life, because if they hadn't, or if she wouldn't have never known, then, it kind of leaves her blindsided. And I feel like this is where a lot of people messed up in their marriages now, because this side I never knew because you didn't want me to know. You didn't want me to judge you. So the fact that I'm bringing this to your attention now, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong because I was invited into your home and you're my cousin and I spoke on what I knew, then, that's on me. But I feel like if she didn't notice about you, then the fact that she knows now, it just explains why everybody is like in the darkness about everything. And I feel like it just kind of helps the situation a lot, because where everybody is just seeing so much darkness and gloom about him, it's more so being projected onto him. And I just feel so bad for him, honestly, because I know how that feels. I know how it feels to be, talked about and bashed all the time. I feel like that's what he feels like. He's being bashed or being talked about, and this is you telling everybody it's about me, and that's not even true. But you're not trying to hear my side of the story. You're not trying to, listen to me. So whatever you're saying to them, just say it is what it is. But that's where it builds resentment, and it builds, guilt towards the other person, but resentment towards this person. Like, this person is resenting you, and you're wondering why. It's because you're talking down on them. You're talking bad about them. And you're the very one that knows everything I've been through. But at the same time, you're talking down on me like you wasn't there. But then you're mad because I'm acting like you're not there, because this is what you're doing. I'm acting like you're not there because this is exactly what you're doing. So you're mad, but your madness isn't towards me. You're not mad at me. You're mad at yourself. And that's how I feel like he feels towards the situation. Because I kind of needed clarity, and I just wanted to talk about it because it was something to talk about, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to what I just, spoke on, or to this experience. A lot of people can relate to it, Trying to figure out where he at. I need to go down to this park and see where he is. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank y'all for listening, and I will see y'all next time. Like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share at your own free will to show you care. Bye.